Alright, I didn't plan on making a video about this today, but I just need to get my mind off of fucking football right now, and the Eagles fucking choking in Minnesota. Dallas choking to Green Bay. I can only laugh about that so much. Anyway, a lot of this talk about, is YouTube a real job? Is it dumb to rely on YouTube for money, etc., etc., seems to be the hot topic right now. A lot of people out there have been sending me messages, leaving me comments regarding this specific topic based on my video I made last week, the response to Angry Joe and Boogie 9980. I'm sorry, I forget his screen name. Anyway, I more or less said in that video, and I was kind of like surprised by some of the comments of like people just like yelling at me saying like, you know, how can you say YouTube is not a real job, blah blah blah. And I was like, in the video I basically admitted that Boogie's video changed my mindset of how I view video making here on YouTube. Now, while I never considered it a job for myself and considered it more of a hobby, and in the past I viewed YouTube as just like, you know, more of a hobby, as far as, you know, yeah, you make money off of this, but it's just people doing this for a hobby. It has evolved in my mind, mainly because of Boogie's video. He nailed home how much hard work and effort actually goes into it. It really shouldn't have had to have taken that video to convince me of that, but it really, that's the one thing that really, you know, struck true in my mind. Just hearing him lay out how people have, you know, put in 60, 70, 80 plus hour work weeks into this, and I'm like, God damn, that's beyond a hobby. There's no way you can say that, you know, that isn't a concerted work effort into making a product for people that is consumed and enjoyed and people want more of. Anyway, you know, to the technical, literal, any definition of it, YouTube is a job, and I will say that straight up. I may have said things in the past. In fact, I even slipped up in that video I made, that response video to Boogie and Angry Joe. And I said, son, at one point, get a real job. I mean, just get a job that's more reliable. Like, I caught myself right away, even when I said it. And to that end, to the second point I want to get into here of, is it dumb to rely on YouTube as, you know, your sole means of making an income? And I would say, yes, it absolutely is. And I've heard a number of your opinions out there. I just saw a video that I Must Destroy All made yesterday, last night, whatever it was. And he brought up some good points in that. I'm not going to so much say, oh no, he's absolutely wrong with everything he's saying or anything like that. Or a number of you are that have been leaving comments and, you know, saying how, you know, it's really not that big a deal compared to other jobs out there. To one of the points that I Must Destroy All made of saying how, like, you know, he brought up the instance of like a car salesman and how, you know, is YouTube any more reliable than, say, being a car salesman? Because my whole thing was YouTube can basically take away everything you have, you know, just like that, and you're up shit's creek, and, you know, what are you going to do? Whereas, you know, a car salesman could just, you know, all of a sudden hit a rough patch, sales get low, all of a sudden he's not making enough to live off of, and who knows, the company cuts him, he gets fired, etc., etc. All that is absolutely true. There's a number of you can just say sales jobs in general that could be seen, you know, just as risky. But my whole thing with YouTube is, and just the internet in general, is it's not a proven sustainable income. Whereas something like a car sales job, people have lived off of for almost 100 years now, since the 1920s. Again, any number of variables can get rid of any fucking job on the planet. I'm not going to deny that. But with a regular 9-to-5, there are a number of protections. There's a number of protections. If you work for a company that has a chain, you could get a job at a different chain. If you get fired unjustly, there's course and action that you can take. Whereas with YouTube, I'll give you an example like this. All right, with YouTube, stick with copyright claims. YouTube, you can lose everything on this website because of an automated copyright claim process. Automated automatic, you're fucked, goodbye, it's never coming back unless you want to create a new channel and start from scratch. This is the equivalent of, and I'm sure we've all seen a number of channels that got flagged for having, you know, the copyright claims of this or that in their videos, and oh, channel's gone. Because people said that their content was in it, or enough people flagged their videos, either falsely or justly, their channels are gone. This automatic termination process, as I like to call it, would be the equivalent of you working in 9 to 5, I don't care, it could be at Burger King, it could be a corporate job, anything, is enough people saying that you stole money. And they went to the boss and they said, Archfiend stole money. And another guy went to the boss and said, Archfiend stole money. And that's the equivalent of the boss going, all right, you're fired. We're not going to do any formal investigation of it. You're just fired because people said you stole. What 9 to 5 job would operate under that principle, under that logic, under that process? Companies would never just fire someone on accusations. YouTube, you can lose your channel. Channels are lost every day because of accusations. And that is one of the main reasons why it is so fucking dumb to rely on this place, on YouTube, for your sole monetary income. You can lose everything just on accusations. You don't even have to have a person formally investigate. You don't have to have a living human being formally investigate things. And I'm sorry, again, name me a time in the real world where just an accusation, sure, it may have happened. I'm not going to deny that it absolutely hasn't ever happened, that someone wrongly just got accused of something and the management or the boss went overboard. But how often does it happen? How often does it happen on YouTube? All the time. All the fucking time. So, and again, going into the thing of like how YouTube can just change things just on a whim, on a dime, do something. That's the thing. The future of YouTube and the rules looking forward for YouTube are so hard to predict. So hard to predict. For all we know, the rules of YouTube could be, that's it, no fucking copyrighted material whatsoever. They are a privately owned business. And I'm going to put a quote on the screen here from a YouTuber by the name of Red Minus. And he was replying to someone in regards of how, you know, YouTube, you can't just do whatever they want. And anyways, I'll put the quote on the screen for you guys to check out. And I thought that this best spells out what YouTube can do and how the whole fair use thing doesn't really mean all that much. Because this is a private run business here on YouTube. It's a private ownership. They don't necessarily have to abide by the rules of fair use just because it's unfair to you or me. They can ban the usage of red shirts in a video if they want to, just like that town in Texas banned red and green shirts at Christmas time. Anyway, it's a different video. That's the thing. This whole thing, as far as risky venture jobs go, which going to a sales job, something like that, absolutely have a contingency plan, whether it's YouTube, whether it's selling cars, whether it's selling life insurance, whatever, have a contingency plan if all goes to hell. But again, I know people might say like, oh, you could have a safe, secure job in a growing investment sector or something like that, something that's solidified, and then a hurricane comes, destroys your building, you're shit out of luck. I get all that. There's also a number of protections that you get for that in the case of a natural disaster, etc., that you wouldn't get on something like YouTube if there was a sort of like, you know, copyright natural disaster that wiped your channel off the face of the internet. So again, yes, do I see YouTube as a legitimate, literal job? Yeah, sure. I mean, I may consider something like, you know, for myself, it's just a hobby because I don't see me put in what I consider to be a personal working effort for myself. I mean, my God, today I just turned on this video, talked to it for about 10 minutes, and uploaded it for you guys. And you could say, well, a telemarketer isn't a real job because they just sit and talk on the phone all day. So, anyway, I'm done trying to say, you know, this is is not a real job here on YouTube. I mean, guys like Boogie really did nail the point home of the amount of effort and time that I never really got a grasp of in my mind, that people are putting that much fucking effort into their product. And that really did strike home to me. I'm not going to knock someone for putting that much time and effort and say to them, no, you're not a real job. You're playing video games for a hobby or anything like that. I'm not going to fucking disrespect people like that. Anyway, as for the reliability of YouTube and just internet income, yeah, I do consider it to be an extremely, extremely high-risk income venture for you to put all your eggs in one basket. Much more than selling cars, selling life insurance, working a sales job, or anything like that. Because there's a number of different laws and protocol that can protect you on your regular 9-to-5 that aren't here on something like the internet. Anyway, I hope I hit enough points here that you guys understand my point of view. And again, if you don't, you're fine to hate me for it or whatever. It's a free country, or it's a free internet. And again, this website is free. YouTube is kind enough to pay anyone for their content here. That is their option to do that. Never lose sight of that. This website operated for years and didn't pay a dime to people like me that made content for you guys for years for free. That did it, that took time out of their lives just simply because they wanted to entertain you. Just simply because someone like me had something to say, or this guy had a product to review, or this guy had a game play footage that he wanted to upload, or etc., etc. People like us did this for years for free on this website. And people will do it again if YouTube decide to pull the plug and not pay anyone a dime. And that could happen. And that's a realistic possibility, and that's one of the reasons why. Maybe it's because of someone like me that made content for years and never got paid, to understand that this could happen again. It could happen again where the time and effort I invested didn't get rewarded monetarily. I don't know, maybe like people like me that are old school have that mindset still ingrained in their minds, and that's why someone like myself sees YouTube as such a high-risk venture, because we're used to, at one point, making videos for free here. Anyway, just something to think about here today, guys, and just something to get my mind off of fucking football, so just fucking hell, Eagles, goddamn. Anyway, have a great day, and fuck the Dallas Cowboys. Choco Romo strikes again in December. My Eagles lost. Have a great day, everyone.